Welcome to this edition of Jawab TV. We're in Bradford today discussing the extremely important issue of forced marriages within the community.
I think it's not an issue, to be honest. For example, the forced marriage unit, I think, is just set up to alienate and stigmatise the actual Pakistani community. We should focus on bigger things such as the education of our young people.
Certainly, when I was younger, and I've got the personal experience of that, not personally myself, but within my family, and I've seen what it does to people. You know, these are human beings in their own right, and their whole lives have been ruined. So you've got to try to imagine, you know, however it was emotional abuse, physical abuse, however it's done, this is taking an individual's life away from them.
When the law was set up for forced marriages to become illegal, that, in my opinion, there was no need for that, because in civil law there was already routes existing for people to be prosecuted. For example, kidnapping is still it's an illegal offence. You know, doing something beyond not according to somebody's will. That to me was the government's way of wrapping it up and saying, look, we're addressing this issue, here you are, we'll change the law. There's many other areas we could have changed the law, paedophilia, etc., but we don't do that. So I think, yeah, there is a government stance which penalises Pakistani people and looks at forced marriages, and we address it by...
But surely this issue is most prominent within the Pakistani community.
Well, is it? Let's look at forced marriages per se. Yes, it is an issue, and we must address it, we must talk about it. It's not something we can avoid. What I'm saying is, what is forced marriages? The way we look at forced marriages in the media is somebody's drugged up, taken to Pakistan, da-da-da. But forced marriage isn't just about taking somebody and saying, you've got to get married. It's about a process that can take absolutely years. It's about emotional blackmail. It's what drives forced marriages. We need to look at the wider context of izzat in terms of parents, the pressures our parents are under to conform, to maintain that izzat, to not become glorified, to not have, you know, there's lots and lots of issues that we need to look at. And forced marriages isn't just about drugging somebody and taking them to Pakistan, that's first and foremost. The forced marriage unit, I totally disagree with the young chap in the back in terms of there isn't an issue. It is definitely, most definitely an issue. The reason it's an issue because my first marriage was forced. You know, it was a forced marriage in terms of, it wasn't like, you've got to do it. No, it wasn't like that.
But the issue here is not about the forced marriage unit addressing that issue, but it's also about how they stereotyping the Pakistani community. For example, we had another girl write into us, and she basically says, she doesn't want her name to be said, but she says that when she went to the GP many times to get her jabs and injections done, the GP was offering her straight away, when she was going to Pakistan, are you going through a rough time, is it a forced marriage which you're going to involve, and gave her actual leaflets and advice, and she felt that we are, as a community, are being stereotyped. So, what do you feel?
No, I think what the GP did was absolutely right, because that is an issue amongst our people, amongst young people, and young people are taken over to Pakistan and they are forced into marriages.
There's a big issue there, and we are being stigmatised in that way, and it's a very, very small minority, and it's a real sensitive area.
You're shaking your head.
It's a protection issue. It's a protection issue. You know, like Naz over there said, if the doctors don't ask, and that is, you know, and that girl is going to be at risk, it's keeping her safe.
Yeah, but we're living in a country whereby we say that you shouldn't be biased towards anybody else.
No, we shouldn't.
Or discriminate against anybody else. All the discrimination seems to be coming towards Pakistanis for various different issues.
But it does happen.
Do you feel?
Of course it happens. It happens. Yeah. Everything happens in every community. The family backgrounds that we come from, the parents have a big say in their children's lives from a very young age, so they will try to, not coerce them, but they'll basically try to say, this is what's good for you. And that's not really accepted within British society. It was in the past, but it isn't today.
I've never come across anybody justifying forced marriage from an Islamic perspective. It's always been from a cultural perspective. From an Islamic perspective, there is no argument, there is no grey area. It is illegal. Before the British system decided to protect us from forced marriage, Islam gave us them rights many, many years ago. And I think we need to educate people on them rights and embrace them and look at them to empower our community.